Hello, all you beautiful thinkers and wanderers. Welcome to Think Out Loud with me. I'm Natalie P., and if life has taught me anything, curiosity saves lives, and the best conversations are the ones we don't script. Life's a big, beautiful, messy learning opportunity, and here in my space, well, we let the inside voices out so others can hear, relate, and create with new purpose. This is a space for questions, connection, and those deep, real human conversations that crack open new perspectives. So grab a seat, open your mind and your heart, and let's think out loud together. Hello, hello. We are going live. While this gets set up, I'm looking at everyone on this fine morning. Specifically, I'm looking at the beautiful Amelia Furman. I'm so excited. Oh, and it says we're live. There we go. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back to Think Out Loud with me. This is the space where I like to say curiosity and real conversation collide. How's that for some alliteration for this beautiful morning? Today, I'm joined by a deeply soulful artist whose work and life remind me that spirit isn't something that we necessarily switch off and on. It's the undercurrent of everything we do. And yeah, that's the vibe I'm feeling this morning. So welcome to my friend Amelia Furman. She's a mixed media artist. She's a mom of two, a longtime creative explorer, and someone who uses art as a living, breathing spiritual practice. She brings texture to both canvas and life. And today we're peeling back the layers on creativity, calling, faith, burnout, and the beauty of not knowing what the heck is next. So I would love to get into it with you. Amelia, come off mute and say hello to everybody who's joining us.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Natalie. This is exciting.
Why don't you introduce yourself a little and come off mute and say hello to everybody who's joining us. See, we're learning as we go. The volume is off. I'm going to tag you so that folks can hear. Oops. Amelia. So that folks that follow you know that you're on. Woohoo. While I was doing that, I was hoping to have you just tell me a little bit about what you're up to over there. You're sitting in a really cool space.
Yeah, my little plastic wall cube. It's a very like non-traditional studio space, but it works. So, yeah.
Where is it? Tell everybody where you work. I've been there. I've been
Yeah,
in this space, and I just like give us some context of like the walls around you and then the walls around those walls.
for sure. So, I work in a space, it's a nonprofit space called the Warehouse Innovation Hub, and it's located in Loveland, Colorado. And it houses people that are have amazing ideas in regards to technology, creativity, science, engineering, all of that. And manufacturing is a big component of it. And they are ready to take their idea from their basement or their garage and actually start scaling it up. They've, gotten a little bit more solid on like, here's what I want to do. And they need help, to get it going. So they need support and like, resources. They need support in how to move it from like just a solopreneur type of situation to, making it so much bigger. And so that's what this space is all about. And one of the things I love about this space is they really value the presence of creativity. So creatives in the space, as well as engineers and scientists and mathematicians and all of that. And so then we get to bump into each other like all the time in the hallways and find out like, well, what are you working on? What are you doing? And it has been really neat to see like what those intersections can lead to. Sometimes it's collaborations. Other times it's like, oh, wait, so and so, like they could help with this. That'd be amazing, And so it really is a cool space to be able to work in, to be here and to hear all of the other sounds going on. It's very kind of warehousey, and so, there's banging, there's conversations happening, and you just kind of like have that buzz going on while you're, working on your own stuff. So, yeah, it's a cool
Before
space.
before we went on live, you were asking if I could hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you didn't ask that. You were looking for headphones and saying that there could be a lot of background noise. And um, I was saying, don't. I want to hear all of it because the way that you are as such a beautiful, creative being, the way that you are positioned within that little space on this planet
Mm-hmm.
is just fascinating to me, and I love it, and I want to hear all of it around you, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the fact I've been in the space where Amelia works, and across the hall, when I joined a workshop, across the hall there's a robotics. There's a testing space where multiple folks can come in and test together, right? Am I accurate?
Yeah, yeah. It's the prototype and electronics lab where,
Okay.
and they're doing like so much innovative stuff in there regarding like how to check out, tools and how to make it so that it's safe for everybody. So they're building programs from the ground up, that nobody has ever done before. And so it's like that is so inspiring to me to think about like, okay, what in my little sphere of creativity, like how can I have that same type of attitude and think through like what can I do that
Wow.
is new and different and um is in line with like the person I am, is in line with like my abilities. Like how can I take what I know, what I'm good at, and make new things. So yeah, so it's neat to see that. It's motivational.
It's highly motivational, and to me, I just like my brain goes because I'm just in the buzz right now around sound and vibrations and this like collective energy that we share, resonance that we share. And so like I can see you in this space, and you all are creating a shared vibration. Everyone there is in passion. Everyone there is in has such focus and such heartfelt. I hope everyone. I'm being super broad for dramatic effect,
Mhm.
which I tend to do a lot. There's just this. I just love the energy. I love the energy walking on, pulling into campus and knowing that that's what you all that's and now I know you. And
Mhm.
so knowing you are in a center of your own little universe, and back to what I was saying about I want to hear it all, because to me it's a symphony. It
Mhm.
doesn't
Mhm.
sound like clutter or clatter or chaos of any kind. It sounds like creativity at its
Mhm.
finest. And so I want to get more into you.
Mhm.
Because I am curious about like the how you would ever land in the middle of just like if you zoom out to the universal level, there's
Mhm.
Amelia sitting in the middle of a warehouse.
Yeah, and if
Whoop,
I
right?
for sure, yeah.
Look at you.
Um,
Like I want to know more. I want to know like 20 years of like finding like you've been you've been creating,
mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's this spark of life in you, and I just want to know, when did you realize um that art wasn't just something that you did,
Hmm.
but that it was something that you actually are.
Right. So yeah, like that it was really something that I felt called to do. And I would say, mm, like I'd been doing art like ever since I was a kid. I went to school for art. And I think in that setting I had inklings and ideas like, hey, this is a big part of who you are. This is a gift. This is something that can be used for good, and something that I felt God designed me for. Um, but I don't think it was until after school, and probably even I don't even know if it was until after I had kids that that I started to fully understand or get more, more of a sense of like this isn't um that it's more than just something I can do, but it is something that that I am a creative person. Um and you know, eh, as far as like figuring out how to, I guess, work with that and be um not stuck in the idea. Like so let me back up a little bit. So I think a lot of my journey has been grappling with like a sense of like self-drivenness, people pleasing, performance, all of that kind of stuff. Like that, this idea of like, look at me, like I have something I can like if you look at me and if you see me, then I'm okay. Like
All day.
I have
Yep.
something to share, and I'm valuable because of that and all of that. So like I think I spent a lot of my childhood and a lot of my time learning art in school kind of with that undercurrent of wanting to please all my teachers, wanting to like work so hard that I was like always at the top, so that I could be like, okay, I'm all right, I'm okay, you know um and so it really wasn't until I was kind of left more on my own to kind of figure it out, where I started to notice that that's kind of what was happening. And then honestly, um in regards to like this whole journey of like um performance based and self kind of ambition and drivenness and hustle and all of that, like that didn't really start to um at least in my heart and mind be dealt with till about probably 3 years ago. So it's been a long journey of me like trying to prove myself,
Right.
of trying to validate who I was, thinking like the only way I could do that was through being like maybe what myself and what other people would say is successful. And like, man, yeah, a lot has changed since I started realizing like that's a bunch of bull. Like I don't even need to do that. Why do I think I need to do that?
Then Amelia said, "That's a bunch of bull."
I don't need to do that.
And life changed. And once, but literally that's it though. That is a beautiful way. You can't unsee it.
Hmm. Yeah, once you see it, I think I will say it is really easy if you're not paying attention. And if you just kind of go along with the flow of things. I I do believe, at least for myself, I can only speak for myself, obviously, because I'm the only one that knows my journey and all of that, but I'm forgetful. Like, and I will find myself like going after the things that like I had let go of in the past. And it's like I feel like
Mm,
God's spirit sometimes is like, wait a minute, we already dealt with this. What are you doing? And I'm like, oh yes, that's right. And like I need to get back to center again. And uh so I do think, that's like I constantly have to be reminded of um, what is actually true
Yeah.
and what I've learned so far. Because
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's this thing like where we just kind of like fall back into old habits.
I think it is. I think that we in fact I believe it is. I'll say it that way. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think, is who talks about um the progression, and he's not the only one. Like in his words, talks about the progression of something from just a quirk, at the first time, let's say, let's just use a big buzzword, an overused buzzword, imposter syndrome. The
Oh,
first
sure.
time you doubt where you're, like when you walk in a room
Hmm.
and you look around and you're like, I'm not so, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And
Hmm.
the day before, you wouldn't have walked in the room and felt that. I'm talking about
Hmm.
that shift, right?
Hmm.
And then a few days later, it comes again. And then a few months, so at that moment, it's a blip. Then it turns into a trend-ish, right? And then it
Hmm.
starts to build. And over the course of any number, depending on how big the moment of impact is with that thought,
Hmm.
that vibrational, bzzzt, right? It soon becomes your personality.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Just as far as like what I focus my mind on. Like
Hmm.
if I'm constantly telling myself, you know, a certain thing, whatever that could be. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like I can't figure this out. I'm never going to figure this out, or like I'm
Right.
not
Right.
like if that's
Exactly.
what's playing in the back of my mind all the time,
All the time.
it's self-fulfilling, and so like I was thinking about that the other day on how like what I feed into my mind, what I am telling myself, is so crucial. And I've actually been trying to teach this to my kids too.
Mm,
Like what I'm saying, and what I'm feeding back, on a loop, really makes a difference, in how I'm showing up every day, and then how that plays out because it really does end up becoming so ingrained and part like you were saying like kind of like your personality,
yep.
and how you operate, and so man our minds are so f- I would say fragile. They're so like they need care, and how we
That's a great way to put it.
yeah how we care for them and nurture them and take care of them is critical. I'm just noticing this about myself, um at the ripe old mid 40s era of my life. I'm like, oh my goodness. so,
Right.
so yeah. Hmm.
Well, and and this is how I relate to that, because right around the ripe old age of somewhere in there from, and I think it's happening, there's a generation of us, or there's a kind of a demographic of us, from a certain point forward, that are all, are talking about this wake up, right? Where we're like, that's a bunch of baloney. I don't remember what you
Hmm.
called it, but we
Yeah.
can't unsee it, right? And then it may
Right.
take us several years to unpack it,
Yes.
right? But
Hmm.
once, we don't even know we've started the unpacking, but we started it. For me, it was, if I, there were certain markers now I can see in arrears, right? I can look back
Hmm.
and say, "Oh, good job, Natalie. You were
Hmm.
getting your poop in a group." Like, and you didn't
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
know that you were working in your favor. Like, that's one of the most, I think, the most beautiful parts of the in between of when you realize what you're doing, in coming home to yourself. And the come is this beautiful little perk, this pep in your step, where you're like, your curiosity, your inner child, there's an inner child that pops up and says, I get to be curious about this.
Wait, I don't have to like have it all figured out before I try something,
And
or
then
yeah.
on the heels of that, you mean And this is not the dig at my mom or you as a mom, but who am I under the mom? Who am I under the skin? Who am I down at my cellular level in this fragile, beautiful, absolutely amazing being?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that there's whether that is like a fast forward because of some massive moment of impact that hits and makes you, it's a near death experience. It's a moment with God,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with your source that says, there's something we're going to have to take a different path here because there's
Mm.
stuff to do. There is a lot
Right,
of
right.
stuff we need to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Hard stop there because this is on my mind. And this is what I think I need to talk to you about. Some of us are told not to bring God or spirit
Mm-hmm.
into business.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Um, in fact, it's in our Constitution.
Mm.
Separation of church and state is
Mm-hmm.
the hard line, right? And that's what we're dealing with. Like I don't have room for God or any of the spirituality, religion, anything that
Mm-hmm.
speaks of higher,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
For you and me, I'm going to make this
Mm-hmm.
bold statement. It is impossible for me to separate
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the two.
Right.
And so the old me, back to what you were talking about, the old me has conformed to that, however many years old, even
Mm-hmm.
thousands of, however many years that has been, like, keep it out. I can't
Mm-hmm.
conform to that. It's not in my being to conform to that. And so, what I wanted to just think out loud with you about is like,
Mm-hmm.
what are we saying, you and I?
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily, we share the same. How do you and I talk to folks? How do you and I talk to each other about this struggle of making our spiritual life
Mm-hmm.
palatable
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in the professional spaces?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Sorry, like kind of loud right now.
I love it. We literally just amped it up.
Yeah. So, I will definitely, so like when you were sharing about like your inability to like separate the two, um, I can, I can definitely say like I tried for probably 10 years into my career to keep the two separate. Because I thought, I don't know, that's really gonna kind of like make it difficult for people to connect with my work. They might not feel the same way I do about, God and all of that. And so I worked pretty hard to keep it separate. And I think there again, that was kind of like a lot of that was related to also me trying to just do everything on my own and all of that performance based stuff and all of that. And then I got to a place, I'm trying to think when it was where I finally just I started, I can't even like pinpoint exactly when it was, but there was a shift where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm miserable. I feel completely compartmentalized. And like if people don't like that I, integrate my faith in my art, I'm sorry. Like I don't know what else to do. Like if I can't do that, I'm not actually showing up in my art. I'm not showing up in my practice or in my finished pieces. And so what I started doing is I actually started, inviting God into my studio time. And like I typically like start my days in, solitude, silence, and some Bible reading and journaling and just talking to God. Like he's sitting right there. And so we have conversations. I talk to him about everything. I'm like, this is what's happening in my family. I need help right now, like with this painting I'm working on. I don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And so I started just bringing him in my studio with me. And like that changed the dynamic of my work. Instead of it being about like, what can I accomplish today? How can I make this like perfect or like successful or whatever? It was more of a like, show me what to do next. And he kind of popped different ideas and thoughts in my head. And then I would know how to handle like something in my painting. And like I could walk away from a painting and go like, man, that was awesome. And not only was the result um, you know, good for where I was at. And I mean, I'm always going to be growing as an artist. Like I look at some pieces that I've done, and maybe they're a couple of years old and I'm like, man, I totally would have done that different. But in the moment, it was exactly what I could do to the best of my ability at that
Mm.
time. And so I would look at that and I'd be like, not only is that a great result, that was really fun. That was really fulfilling to do. Whereas before it was more of just like checking off a box and everything. And so
Mm.
when I was able to integrate my faith and my spirituality with my business practice, like, and not only just like the creation process, but like if we look at like as an artist, there's like basically two sides of things, right? There's the creative, the making component, all of that. So there's that thing, there's the artist hat. But then as someone who also does this for their career, there's also like the entrepreneurial side of it, the business person side of it. And like when I was also able to bring him into that, man, that changed it. Like instead of it being like so um exhausting and um like feeling completely like on my own and isolated all the time. I was like, I I can ask for help. I can, it's not like I have to do this. And like sometimes that means like people would come to my mind that, it was just like, oh, I should ask them about this. Or, oh, I kind of forgot that I had this thing over here that I could like, so it's almost like I had like God was able to kind of like give me the resources that I need in order to like do business in a way that wasn't
Mhm.
so that would get me so wrapped around the axle and like just I don't know. Like I struggled so much for a long time as in business to not have that feel like it was suffocating me and drowning me. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I brought that all together, um it shifted the whole thing. And that's not to say like, oh, it's all perfect and hunky dory and stuff. Like I still feel like in my journey in my art and in my spirituality that um like there is still so much work that needs to happen. And like right now, what I am kind of like wrestling with God in is um just like constantly remembering that like he gave me those gifts. And he gave them to me to use not for my benefit solely, but for his glory, which usually means for the good of those around me as well. And what that ends up doing, so like when I look out like that, as opposed to constantly like it's got to be all
Mhm.
about me, then I actually get the benefit as well. Like it takes all of the onus off of me to like figure it out and to have it all be about me type of thing and like shifts it and then I get this awesome like kickback as well when I first put all of the priority um, you know, out there outside of myself. And so and that's kind of been an ongoing thing. And he's had to really like kind of strip away a lot of stuff. And a lot of like it's been actually a very humbling experience to to have him be like, okay, we're gonna cut that out, we're gonna cut this out, we're gonna
Mhm.
this, you don't get this project, we're not doing this. And just to kind of help me get to a place where I could, see like, oh, you're doing this because I needed to get out of my own way so that this could be aligned correctly. And that has been an incredible journey. And it's not over yet. Like, I'm totally in that place when you were talking about, like, what the heck is coming next? I'm like, I have no idea. But
And that's
instead of being like super scared about it, I'm like so much more open-handed. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
the path shows itself. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe I can just trust his goodness and his greatness um and just let that be what I'm anchored to
Hmm.
instead of my own flailing efforts to try to like get it all together,
Hmm.
and like make my own path. Maybe I could just trust him to
Hmm.
kind of show me what to do next.
Hmm.
hmm So that's been my journey in
Thank
integrating faith back into my art practice. And
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I here's why I knew I needed this to visit with you about this because there was a time when I wouldn't have this conversation with you
Mm, mm-hmm,
because my own relationship with my faith, with my spirit, with my source was severed.
mm, mm-hmm,
And, I know exactly when it happened,
mm,
with my father's death. And I ran hard with my elbows locked,
mm,
um, I didn't have room in my life for my spirit. I didn't have room in my life for the voice that was telling me that I was out of alignment because I was too busy running and
mm, mm,
I was just trying to get away as far as I could, um,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
to stay in ironically, to stay in control,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so as I'm listening to you describe this, I can now sit beside you digitally, in person. Hell,
Mm-hmm,
we can cuddle at a campfire, sister.
mm-hmm,
Tell me the stories of your connection to your God.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I will tell you the stories of my connection to my source and to my spirit. We're all like, I am sitting right there with you, and I can't undo any of this. I know where am I speaking to Jesus? Yes. And I'm speaking to, I'm speaking to all of them, all of
mm-hmm,
anything and nothing and everything.
mm-hmm,
Walking into your space with my spirit intact, my connection to my spirit intact, and walking into a space where source is intact and is a part of it all, and my faith meets your faith, and I can create
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
have and look and wonder across from someone else with a different path than mine and watch them create and connect with their like goosies and like
mm-hmm,
I don't wanna I don't wanna build any boundaries around
mm-hmm.
this kind of collaboration
Right.
where
I think,
spirit and
mm-hmm,
God and Buddha and everybody's in the room with us, and we're in the middle of a bigger room, and we're in the middle of a bigger room, and it takes my breath away. We're taking this up a few notches.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think to answer your question as far as like how do we get better at like creating space and an environment where we can share like where we're at, even if we don't, if we're, even if we're not coming at the world from the same perspective, or the same type of belief system or whatever. Like, how do we figure out how to actually engage with each other, um, in kindness and in vulnerability and in genuine, um, like presence, I guess.
Yeah.
And like the first thing that came to mind is exactly what you were like, what you're all about is just the sense of curiosity. Where instead of um instead of coming to a conversation where you're like, I don't know, they don't think the same thing I do. Like this could be, this could be scary or whatever. Instead, like asking questions, find out who that person is, find out what their story is, and then relay your own story, where you're not afraid of being, um I guess where you're being open and honest about who you are, without worrying so much about if it's going to be accepted or not. Because, like, at least for me, I've been totally dealing with this where, like, I don't need to get other people's approval because I'm completely approved already. I'm loved by the God of the universe. I'm his daughter, through Jesus, and I don't have to prove anything. And so, like, being able to come into situations and conversations and in connection with other people where you can just sit with them and you can hear where they're at and you can share where you're at. And just, I don't know, just do that and see what happens, as opposed to being like, you know,
I don't want to hear this.
yeah, exactly, like shutting it
I don't
down.
want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, like what would happen if we just all were able to maybe listen a little better, and um show kindness and love and value the perspectives of other people.
Hmm.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. I think the big thing I'm also thinking a lot about now is like, does like like when it comes to the circles of people that I encounter and like all the different people I connect with, like I can completely be their friend and completely connect with them and value who they are and love them, um, without always agreeing with everything they say and without agreeing with everything they might believe and think. That's
Hmm.
okay. Like I have one of my favorite examples of this is an artist friend that I have. And we come at life in two completely different ways. And I love hearing what she is passionate about, what she's thinking about, and what she's doing. And I ask questions, and she has given me such an expansive perspective on like just different issues that like in my world I've never even opened the door on
Who
because
is this?
Jenny Milner. You
Yeah.
probably
Okay.
know Jenny. Like she's taught me about like immigration stuff. She's taught me about border issues. She's taught me like tons about like all sorts of different things. And I love that. I love that we can talk about things that I'm not familiar with. Maybe I don't think the same thing she does, but I want to hear her opinion. I wanna learn from what she has to say.
Hmm.
And so like, and I know a lot of the stuff that like I'm about, she's like, I don't know about that." And that's okay. Like
That's
we
okay.
still can completely treasure each other
Mhm.
and spend time together. And it just like, man, I think if we could just do a little bit better at that listening component,
Yeah.
sitting and being curious, sharing honestly, and being okay with the fact that there may be times where we come to a place and it's like, I don't know if I think the same thing you do. That's okay. Like it's just, rather than trying to like um beat ideas into somebody's head about stuff, like maybe that's not our jobs. Like just,
Mhm.
maybe that's not how this works.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Just something I've
Um,
been cogitating on, thinking about, trying to figure out, like,
Oh,
how do I navigate.
that's a beautiful word. What did you just use?
I don't remember.
You said, oh man, that was a crossword puzzle clue. I got a couple of
Mhm.
this. I wonder if anybody caught that. Oh, I'm recording. I'm gonna catch that back. That'll be my snippet I take out. That was like good. It started with a C. Um,
Mm.
you mentioned being in a season in between.
Mhm.
What's next?
I have no idea.
Teaching, art,
Yeah.
like I
Mhm.
want to give you a minute to just think on, what you're up to. I went to a workshop. It's up in my upstairs. I have an upstairs office here at the house.
Wait, so you have 2 offices? That's pretty
I
awesome.
actually have like four. There's the
Now
mat.
that's a bit extravagant, I
I
think.
know. It's a high rise. It's a high rise over by Boyd Lake. Um, and it comes complete with like recliners with heating pads and like, yeah,
Is that your thinking chair?
it is.
Yeah.
I call it the magic bus.
That's amazing. Wait, is it yellow?
It
It's
should
busy.
be. See, we need to go out and create content
Oh, that's amazing.
because my chef, my sweetheart Paul, he'll be upstairs still. I'm an early riser.
Mhm.
And he teases me. He says, I listen to you leave the room. I tiptoe out. I think he's sleeping and he'll hear me come downstairs, make the coffee. And it's anywhere, depending on my mood or what's on my mind going to sleep, it'll be anywhere between 3:30 and 4:15.
Man, you are early riser. Sheesh. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I can't, at that point in the morning, when my eyes go up, like it's game on. And I'm learning more and more about myself it is my best design to not to jump, like I'm talking about personalities, right? Like the hustle, like, oh my God, the time to go, woo, pick up the phone, woo, let's
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
schedule, woo. No,
Mhm, mhm,
my eyes blip,
mhm,
big, deep, purposeful breaths.
mhm,
I'm awake. I'm alive.
mhm. Yeah,
I'm alive.
yeah, yeah,
And then, oh my God, I'm hot.
yeah.
Okay. Right. And like, actually, okay, my toes are all still there. This morning, I laid there and I have this thing, and people have heard me talk about it. Like in a meditation, I just drop into my big toe. I get curious about the cells that have decided that's where they congregate.
Mm,
Like, until they don't anymore.
mm,
What?
mhm.
That's so crazy to me. So I laid there for 5 minutes, just like thinking about my big toe, like, hi, and like down in a cellular level and if I showed you my big toe, you'd be like, I did not need to see that. It's not as fascinating as you think it is, Natalie. So it's different now. Yeah. There's four offices and an outside patio, and a different slide into this life. And it's with purpose. Every single morning's with purpose. And when I jump in that magic bus, Paul will hear the recliner, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And it's like the door closing. And he
mm.
teases to say, I don't know where she's going. It's
She's
four
going
o'clock.
somewhere on that bus.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. She'll
Yeah.
probably sneak back in about 15 minutes to get her glasses because she does it every morning. I can't break that one. I'm working on it. I'm working. It doesn't matter where I hang them.
Mhm.
You think I'd leave? I leave them down here
Oh, there you go.
before
There
I
you
go
go.
to bed.
Mhm,
Why take them upstairs? I'm sleeping.
mhm,
Goodness,
mhm.
this has been the most productive podcast in a long time. If I
I
just,
need mine right next to my bedstand because I'm blind, so, like,
you
unless I,
wouldn't
like,
make
have
it downstairs.
no, I would kill myself trying to get downstairs. Yeah.
So let's just say that you've made it successfully downstairs for another day. What are you up to? How can people engage with you? Like I've got show notes. I'm gonna put all your contact, all your goody, and we've got all your connections. I just want to think about like what are you up to?
So, as far as like you had mentioned, like, what am I up to next kind of
Hmm.
thing? Okay, so Um, a couple things that I'm doing right now is I've got shows and stuff this summer that I'm doing. So I just finished two shows in May. I do outdoor art festivals. And so that's a whole nother podcast all in itself if you want to know what that's like. But so I have those that I'm doing. And then this summer, or in June, I'm going to be doing an art camp for kids. So it's the first one's going to be mainly about um, how to help kids engage with the outside world and be able to use different techniques that I've gathered over time to, capture clouds, to be able to draw like a tree the way that it looks. And because a lot of times like they get frustrated with those different components. And so I want to be able to help them um, if that's something that they want to do, if they're interested
Yeah.
in learning how to capture what their eyes are seeing. And so we're going to be working through like various elements of nature throughout the week with little sketchbooks and watercolor paper, and we'll be outside and doing all that kind of stuff, kind of like little junior plein air artists.
I
So
love it. And
it's
it's only for kids?
I know I need to do some adult ones. I
You
have a
need to do
friend.
that an adult day camp for
Yeah,
fully, sister. Like,
it'd be super fun. My friend Manette, who's also here in Loveland, she's running an adult summer camp, art related, and I think kind of like I think it's like art and spirit kind of related types of things.
hmm.
And so yeah, we'll have to definitely connect you guys so you can learn
Yeah,
about that.
that's great.
But yeah, so who knows what that'll look like. As
It'll
far
look fantastic. I'm excited for those kiddos. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I know, and it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, this would be my first time doing a summer camp. So I'm like totally trying to figure it out as I go.
Hmm.
I've been engaging with other artists and stuff that teach and getting tips and tricks and stuff from them. But at some point I'm just gonna have to be like, it's fine, we're doing it and just and realize I'm not going to be the perfect teacher. I'm probably going to learn just as much as the kids or maybe more. Um,
Hmm.
but dang it, we're going to have such a good time. So I think that'll be really good. And then I have another one in July which will be a little bit more instead of like focusing so much on seeing the world around us. It's going to be more material based, where kids are going to learn more about like how to use different materials with paint and fiber and all of that. And that'll go into then a mixed media piece at the end. Like we'll work on this particular mixed media piece every single day, like using the techniques that we learned that day. So, and that one I think will be great for those that are like, actually, I kind of want to just create what's in my head. Because a lot of times you've got both. You've got kids that like are like, I just really want to be able to capture the world around me as it looks. I find that
Hmm.
fascinating and it drives me bonkers that I can't do that.
Hmm.
So there's that group. And then there's our other group that's like, nah, I've got enough great stuff going on in this
Hmm.
head of mine that
Yes.
I
Yeah.
want to focus on that. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's room for both. And
Yeah.
and it's also super fun when you see the two of them intertwine.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that in July, and then I've got a big art installation that I'm doing at the Brimfield Library with another artist, and that one is it's going to be a temporary installation that is called Kaleidoscope Community, and it is a whole bunch of hanging, vibrantly colored abstract canvases with aspen trees in front of them created with post-consumer plastic crocheted bags. I know it's hard to like kind of visualize what this is. But
You can't say that 10 times fast.
no,
Can you say it one more time?
yes. So what it is it's backdrops of color and shape with aspen trees, like so there's like a leaf canopy, and then there's these trunks and root systems and stuff like that. And the trees are all made of plastic. So like the canopy will be done with fused plastic. My
Mm,
good friend Heather Fortin Rubald, who is an expert in working with plastic, will be fusing the plastic for the leaf canopy. And then we are working together to crochet strips of post-consumer plastic bags into these like long, elegant trunks. And that at the bottom, the root systems are actually just chains of like crochet chains, basically. And then they'll be integrated back into the canvas backdrop. And the idea is that aspen trees, like they are connected. They're like
ah,
when they're in a grove, they're
yeah.
actually all connected underneath. And to me, I like that resonates with me so greatly, that sense of community that we need
Mhm.
each other. Um, and also that it's not a competition. The cool thing I've been learning about trees as I, continue to study them is they care for each other.
Mm,
So like when there's a tree, and again, this is more of an overarching statement. I have a feeling there's like maybe some species of trees that aren't as um collaborative as others, but
yeah.
but they basically like if there's a tree that is malnourished or struggling to grow, the other trees will go ahead and feed out of their own systems, feed this tree to support it. If there's a disease or if there's some type of like danger, or anything like that outside source of danger, they will protect each other.
Mhm.
And I was like, that's beautiful, and that's just I don't know. It just really is very awesome for me to think about how I can then integrate that into my art.
I
Um,
think it's awesome. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
That's stunning. I haven't even laid eyes on it, and it's stunning.
Yeah, it's one of those things where so you had mentioned earlier that I'm kind of like a creative explorer. Like this is totally one of those things. Where like Heather and I had this idea and we're like, let's, do it this way. And so much of it has been like we have been just kind of like figuring it out as we go. No, like we have a good grounding of like expertise in various areas, but there's also a lot of unknowns where we're
Hmm.
like, oh, never encountered that before. How are we going to figure this out? And so that's actually been really, really interesting to be on that journey with her. And yeah, and doing it with a partner artist as opposed to trying to figure it out all by yourself is so comforting and so helpful because like we can like bounce ideas off of each other and we
Yeah.
bring both of our sets of strength to it. So that's really awesome. So I've got that coming up. That's going to be displayed the end of August through middle of December at
Hmm.
the Broomfield Library. And then I've got more shows, a couple more outdoor shows, and yeah, and I've been playing around with the idea of maybe going back for my MFA, if anybody will take me. So we'll see.
This must be my Amelia. I
Yeah, like
call this
yeah,
the Amelia.
yeah. Like that's totally like most of my friends are like, "Well, I didn't see that coming." I'm like, "I know, I didn't either. Sorry."
Do it.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about it. I'll tell you to do it.
Yeah. Well, and so one of the things I've been learning lately is that like I'm an idea person. So I come up with tons and tons of ideas. I'm like, oh, this, like all the things. Which that's pretty awesome. You can't do them all. Same thing with my husband always reminds me like he's like, Amelia, you can be friendly with everybody, but you can't be everybody's friend,
Yeah.
at the same level. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't work. Yeah, I was like, okay. But anyway, when it comes to ideas, I'm learning to kind of slow down and let them simmer and sit and wait a bit and like how we had talked about like the integration of art and faith and all of that. Well, instead of just flying off the handle with an idea, guess who I'm talking to about it first?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to God about it first, and I'm saying, hey, what do you like? This is an idea I have. Can you let me know? Can you walk me through, guide me, help me know if this is something that is on my path or if this is going to be a distraction. Because I mean, I'm very prone to distraction. And some ideas might look like a distraction, but they're where I need to go. So, and I never know like what he's going to kind of point me to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I find a lot of times it's not really what I would have expected, but that makes it incredibly exciting and fun. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds like you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of like those are some of the things I'm working on. What's coming down the pike. And yeah, like as far as like that idea of going back to school, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at in the in between. What's going to happen as far as, future projects or what's the next body of work that I want to create? What's coming? That's another
Mm-hmm.
unknown. I don't know. Um, so, but yeah, that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of where I'm at. Yeah,
Well, thank you.
you're so welcome.
I'm glad that this distraction made the clear list.
This felt like a very good thing to do. Like
See
the
what I
right.
did there?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's something I do over here. I think I'm funny. Think that as long as my key to survival, as I've been stating it lately, is that as long as one personality thinks I'm funny, I am golden. I just
That, yeah.
I can get to giggling
hmm
and it
That's
doesn't
my favorite
matter.
thing to do. If I can figure out how to make somebody laugh, I'm like, I have accomplished what I need to do today.
Yeah, yeah. And it may be that you run into me in the grocery store and I scare the shit out of you because I am standing there talking to myself in the little tea aisle, you know, because I only have so much room in my pickle jar where I
hmm
keep my tea. And if I'm going to put tea in my pickle jar,
hmm
it needs I'm picky.
hmm
So, yeah. And we
Well, if
don't
I see you in the tea aisle, I'm going to come over and give you a huge hug.
give me a huge hug, heart to heart, sister. Heart to heart. Where do you shop? I'll just come to your
Oh
tea aisle.
gosh, yeah. Oh, I shop. Well, I actually don't do a whole lot of shopping. My husband does a lot of it. Um,
Well, go shop for tea. If you were to go shop for tea, where would you go shop for tea?
Maybe Esches or
Ooh,
King
I can do
Supers. I can do
Eshes.
King Supers.
I can do Eshes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun. You never
Nice.
know what you're gonna get there.
No, you don't. And I might find those are the sweet surprises you didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You stand in the middle of the aisle at Eshes and you say,
Never heard of that one before. I'm gonna have to go look at that.
and then you look over and you meet somebody that you didn't anticipate meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
that's
You
the best.
never know what the universe is doing to support you, conspiring to support you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
thank you, honestly, thank you for your honesty
Mm.
and for your humility and your spirit. You're a gift, and I think that many of the folks that'll listen to this that came in and out live, I had a couple folks um, when they listen. I think feeling seen in your season of not knowing. You
Mm.
should feel seen. And also, I will speak for all of us, inspired by a commitment to just creating in real time anyway. This
Mm-hmm.
concept that the path will appear takes a lot of trust and a lot of getting up, no matter what your rise time is, and
Just showing
saying,
up.
I'm coming back. I'm gonna let the path appear. I'm not gonna try and control this. I'm going to find my center. I'm gonna start my day feeling into this beautiful body that I was given to play on this beautiful planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just thanks for you inspired that.
That's
Uh,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you. And if folks want to see Amelia, her art, or have a kids class, she'll take your kids. Can all the adults, could we just like stand on the side and watch? And oh, I'll just do like, no, that's creepy. Okay, so art anywhere. They're all over Northern Colorado. And I know you keep ameliafurman.com up to speed with where you're at.
Yep.
So that's the best place to go. I tagged you in the live on this. I'm going to drop this and all the show notes, including some different things I'll listen back
Mhm.
through and pull out what folks should hear about. But as always, if this conversation stirred something within you out there, please share it. Stay curious about it, even if you just share it with your BFF, or I don't know, even your pillow. Um,
Exactly.
that's okay too. We
Mm.
say that's okay, right?
Yeah.
It is, because you're making space. You're making space for spirit in unexpected places.
You should totally talk to yourself about all of these things.
Yep.
I think one of the things people are afraid of doing is they're afraid of actually opening that box and dealing with all of the unanswered questions.
Mm,
But what if you open that box? What if you go ahead and you start to actually, find out what actually is below the surface a little bit?
mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I
Yeah.
love it. I'll see everybody next time.
Mhm.
We're all gonna keep thinking out loud together. This has been a treat. Thank you, Amelia Furman. I'll
You're
see
welcome.
I'll see you in person
Yeah,
soon.
soon. For sure.